Welcome to Dataverse by Nino Paul, episode 22. Today we are diving into a topic that, honestly, it keeps business leaders up at night supercharging operational efficiency with AI.
Yeah, it really does. It's a massive pain point right now.
Oh, absolutely. Look, we all know the modern business reality you're operating in right now. I mean, we live in a world where speed, absolute accuracy, and, real-time responsiveness, those strictly define your competitive advantage.
They do. If you're slow, you're out.
Right. And if you are still relying on manual workflows for your mission-critical processes, it's no longer just an inconvenience. It is no longer an option.
No, not at all. You just can't scale that way.
Exactly. So the mission of our deep dive today is to unpack Nino Paul's AI-powered automation solutions and explore exactly how they eliminate those hidden bottlenecks. We're talking about reducing manual workloads by up to 70 to 90%.
Which is just a staggering number when you first hear it.
Right, for everyone from Fortune 500s down to fast-growing tech giants.
Yeah, and to understand how a 90% reduction is even mathematically possible, we have to look right at where those bottlenecks actually live in your daily operations. Because, the promise of AI only matters if we confront the painfully familiar reality of the status quo. I mean, we are talking about the anatomy of operational fatigue here.
Operational fatigue, that's a great way to put it.
Right. Because traditional business processes today are dangerously scattered. They're across these different software islands. Just think about your own tech stack for a second.
Oh, it's a mess.
It is. You have task management happening in siloed systems like JIRA, Asana, or Monday.com.
Yeah.
And then customer support lives in completely different environments like Zendesk or Freshdesk.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your ERPs and CRMs are holding all your invoices and job orders.
Right.
And on top of all that, you have shared inboxes practically drowning in vendor communications and requests for quotes. It's overwhelming.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit, because as you list those out, it immediately paints a very specific picture for me.
Yeah. What's that?
It's like running a massive, chaotic restaurant kitchen where absolutely none of the chefs speak the same language.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy. Yeah.
Right, because you've got the prep cook shouting in JRA, the sous chef taking orders in Zendesk, and the head chef trying to manage the budget over in a Salesforce CRM.
And nobody is talking to each other.
Exactly, because they can't communicate seamlessly. What happens? You get dropped dishes, which, represent your operational delays. You get wrong orders, which are your human errors.
Which cost real money.
Exactly. And most importantly, you end up with an incredibly exhausted staff suffering from serious operational fatigue. You are literally paying highly skilled people to essentially run back and forth translating between the stations.
Right, but we need to refine that kitchen metaphor just a bit.
Okay, we'll find a way.
Because the human staff shouldn't be doing the translating at all. Like, in a truly high-end kitchen, you have an expediter.
Oh, right, the person at the front.
Exactly. That's the person standing at the pass, taking the chaotic influx of server tickets, organizing them instantly, telling the grill exactly what to fire, and making sure the final dish goes to the correct table.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, the source material uses a very specific phrase that I love. It says, manual data entry is the silent productivity killer.
The silent killer.
Yes. It is silent because it's become normalized. People just accept that spending hours moving data from an inbox into a JRA ticket is just part of the job.
Which is wild when you think about how much those people are getting paid.
Exactly. Nino Paul's AI solutions fundamentally change that architecture by acting as that master expediter. The AI sits directly at the center of the workflow, intercepting all that chaos, extracting the intelligence, and triggering actions autonomously across all those siloed platforms.
Okay, so if this AI expediter is sitting right in the center of the kitchen, how does it actually manage the full life cycle of a business transaction?
It connects everything.
Right, but I want to move away from the theoretical here and look at the boots-on-the-ground application. Instead of just listing out features, let's trace a piece of work from the moment it enters a company to the moment it's completed.
I like that. Let's do it.
So the journey usually starts with intake. An email hits a shared inbox. A client or a vendor needs something like a request for, quote, an RFQ.
Oh, and the traditional RFQ process is a massive bottleneck.
It's the worst.
Right, because a shared inbox gets flooded. A human has to open an email, read through, maybe a 10-message deep thread, decipher what the client actually wants, pull out the relevant technical specs, and then manually build a structured RFQ document.
Just typing it all out by hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Nenopal deploys AI agents that constantly monitor those inboxes. They literally read the incoming emails, parse the intent, extract the required technical or financial information, categorize the request, and generate a structured RFQ instantly. Instantly. There is zero human intervention required to get that initial critical document created.
Wow. Which naturally kicks off the next phase of the life cycle, right? The request is in, and now it needs to be assigned and tracked.
Yep. The ticket creation phase.
Right. Someone has to log it into the project management software. And I know from personal experience, there's absolutely nothing worse than logging into JRA and seeing a ticket that just says fix bug or client request.
Oh, with absolutely no context attached. It's maddening.
It's the worst. But here, the AI connects directly into JRA or Asana or Monday.com, and it doesn't just create a rank placeholder.
No, not at all.
It auto-logs incredibly detailed tickets. Like, it applies the correct tags, it sets the priority levels based on the urgency of the email it just read, it attaches the relevant files, and writes up a comprehensive task summary.
And that context is everything. Because once the work is assigned, it eventually triggers the financial and compliance side of the house.
Right. Things have to be paid for.
Exactly. The supplies need to be ordered or the contractor needs to be paid. This is where we hit the job and purchase order phase. The AI takes unstructured data, say a densely worded PDF contract or some weirdly formatted vendor invoice attached to an email.
Because they're never formatted the same way twice.
Never. But the AI extracts the necessary financial line items, validates that data against your existing records, and automatically generates a ready-to-approve purchase order.
That's huge.
It is. It then syncs that PO directly with your ERP or CRM system. So the manual data entry that usually just plagues procurement, it's bypassed entirely.
Okay, he is where I have to push back a little bit.
Sure, go for it.
Because as we move through this life cycle, inevitably the customer is going to reach out. They want an update on their order or, they have a problem.
Naturally.
And the sources mention the AI automates ticket creation, prioritization, routing, and even drafting responses across platforms like Zendesk and Intercom.
Yes, the customer support pillar.
Right. But if we automate all of these support tickets and have AI drafting responses to upset customers, aren't we just turning customer service into a faceless robot factory?
That's a very common fear.
Because nobody likes feeling like they're talking to a brick wall when they have a legitimate problem.
It sounds like a robot factory on the surface, I completely agree. But ironically, it's the exact opposite when implemented correctly.
How so?
The key distinction is what the AI is actually handling in that support lifecycle. It is handling the triage, not the final human connection.
Okay, break that down for me.
So when a customer emails in a panic, the AI reads it, understands the negative sentiment and the urgency, right? It prioritizes it to the very top of the queue. Then it routes it to the specific Tier 3 specialist who handles that exact product issue.
Skipping the whole general inbox waiting game.
Exactly. It tags it with the correct customer ID and drafts a preliminary summary based on past similar resolutions.
I see. So it's doing all the administrative red tape before the agent even opens the ticket?
Precisely. Think about a standard support agent. They often spend up to 60% of their day just categorizing tickets, looking up account numbers, and assigning tags.
Just busy work.
Exactly. Nenopal's AI removes that completely. This frees up your human support team to focus entirely on resolution. They actually get to use their uniquely human empathy, tone, and problem-solving skills to care for the customer, rather than acting as human routers.
That makes a lot of sense. You are removing the robot work from the human so the human can actually be human.
Exactly. Beautifully put.
Thanks. And that brings us to the final stage of our transaction life cycle, the dreaded Friday afternoon scramble.
Oh, the CRM and sheet updates.
You know the feeling. It's 4:00 p.m. on a Friday. You have a massive pipeline meeting on Monday morning, and you suddenly realized your HubSpot or Salesforce data is 3 weeks out of date.
Because nobody had the time to manually input their notes from the week's calls. And that delayed data input is a massive vulnerability for leadership. If you pull a report on Friday and the data is from 3 weeks ago, you're making strategic decisions based on an echo of reality.
An echo of reality. Wow, yeah.
But the Nenopal system writes directly into HubSpot, Salesforce, Zoho, Google Sheets, Airtable, whatever custom CRM you use, in real time as the tasks are completed.
So there's no Friday scramble at all.
None. The AI ensures the data is always current, providing clean, consistent data sets for actual real-time visibility.
Okay, so we've traced the entire life cycle. The AI handles the RFQ intake, builds the project tickets, cuts the purchase orders, triages the customer support, and updates the CRM.
It's a heavy lift.
It is an incredibly impressive resume, but the natural next question for anyone listening who, actually manages a complex IT infrastructure is HOW.
Right, the mechanics behind it.
Yeah. How does it pull this off without completely breaking the existing infrastructure? Let's look under the hood and demystify this tech stack, because just throwing acronyms around doesn't actually explain the mechanics.
Well, the mechanics are where the engineering really shines. Because Nenopol doesn't just use one blunt instrument. They use a highly orchestrated combination of specialized technology.
Okay.
To start, you have large language models, or LLMs.
Right, the chat GPTs of the world.
Essentially, yes. These are responsible for the deep text understanding. When a convoluted, sarcastic, or poorly formatted email comes in, the LLM parses the intent and the nuance.
Makes sense.
But LLMs are terrible at rigidly structured tasks on their own. For documents like invoices, PDFs, and contracts, the system utilizes OCR optical character recognition, combined with document intelligence.
Let's break that down for a second, just to be crystal clear.
Sure.
The way I like to think about it is that the OCR is the eyes of the operation, and the LLM is the brain.
I like that.
Right. So the OCR looks at a scanned, maybe somewhat smudged PDF and recognizes a shape as the number 7. But the OCR doesn't actually know what 7 means.
It's just a shape to the OCR.
Right. So it hands that over to the LLM, the brain, which looks at the context and realizes that the 7 is right next to the word quantity, meaning the client wants to order 7 laptops, not call a phone number that starts with a 7.
That's a highly accurate way to visualize it, but understanding the document is really only half the battle.
Oh.
Yeah. Once the AI knows the client wants 7 laptops, how does that fuzzy conversational intelligence actually talk to a highly structured database like Salesforce?
Because it's a completely different language.
Right. That happens through process orchestration engines and custom API integrations.
Right, because an LLM can't just casually chat with a Salesforce database. Salesforce requires data in a very strict, specific format, or the whole system just throws an error.
Exactly. It'll just reject it. The process orchestration engine acts as the rigid pipeline. It takes the intelligence gathered by the LLM and the OCR, formats it into the exact JSON code or structured data payload that the destination system requires, and pushes it through the API. That is how you weave these AI capabilities directly into the software you already use without having to migrate your entire company to a new platform. The AI molds itself to your existing infrastructure.
Okay, I follow the mechanics. But wait, letting an AI understand a document is one thing. Letting an AI automatically format a payload and generate a purchase order autonomously from an email or a contract.
Sounds scary, right?
It sounds incredibly risky to me. What if the LLM hallucinates? What if a comma gets moved 1 decimal place to the right and suddenly we're cutting a PO for 10 times the requested amount? We've all seen AI make confident mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. And this raises the most critical point of the entire architecture. It's the exact reason why the most important part of the Nenopol tech stack isn't actually an AI model at all.
Really? What is it?
It's a security protocol called human-in-the-loop validation.
Human in the loop. I love that phrase. How does that actually look in practice?
Well, the AI does not run wild with your finances or your legal correspondence. For critical, high-stakes actions like finalizing a large purchase order or sending a legally binding response, the AI does 99% of the heavy lifting.
Okay.
It extracts, categorizes, drafts, and prepares everything. But before that final execution is triggered, the orchestration engine routes it to a human dashboard for a one-click validation.
So the human reviewer logs in, and what do they see?
They see a split screen, essentially. On one side is the original unstructured document, maybe the messy vendor PDF, with the key data points highlighted.
Okay.
And on the other side is the perfectly formatted purchase order the AI wants to generate. The human simply reviews the extracted data against the original document, confirms it's accurate, and hits approve.
That's brilliant.
It is. This human-in-the-loop feature guarantees high accuracy and provides enterprise-grade security. Furthermore, it ensures strict traceability across all deployed automations.
Oh, right, the audit trail.
Exactly. If an auditor comes knocking 6 months later, asking why a specific PO was cut, you have a permanent cryptographic log showing exactly what logic the AI used and exactly which human signed off on it.
So you get the speed of a machine with the accountability of a human.
Precisely.
That seamless integration is what clearly drives the bottom line ROI here. Because if we shift from the underlying technology to the real-world impact, the numbers our sources provide, they're staggering. We're talking about a massive 90% reduction in manual processing time.
It completely changes the math of your business.
It really does. Think about what you could do with your team if you suddenly got 90% of their administrative time back.
Time is the most obvious metric, yeah. But alongside that savings, there is an 80% reduction in errors for ticket or PO creation.
Which saves the headache of going back and fixing things.
Right. Plus, instant RFQ turnaround directly boosts your win rates. In B2B sales, the first vendor to reply to a request with a highly structured, highly accurate quote is exponentially more likely to win that business.
Yeah.
You aren't just saving money, you are actively capturing more revenue.
So what does this all mean for a company's growth trajectory? I mean, it means increased operational scalability without needing to increase headcount.
Exactly.
You can double your order volume, double your revenue, without having to double the size of your back office data entry team. You get better governance through those structured workflows and detailed audit logs.
Absolutely.
But there is a specific phrasing in the source material that really caught my eye. Ninopal explicitly states they are not just an AI vendor, but a transformation partner.
Yes.
Now, in the B2B world, the word partner gets thrown around a lot. Unpack what that distinction actually means for a business leader listening to us right now who is, thinking about implementing this.
It is the fundamental difference between buying a tool and building a capability.
Okay, I like that.
If you just buy an AI vendor software off the shelf, it's like buying a highly advanced twin-turbo V8 engine and having it dropped on your front lawn.
Right.
It's incredibly powerful, but you have absolutely no idea how to connect it to your car's transmission, the exhaust, or the fuel lines. It just sits there.
And you still have to hire an entire team of mechanics to figure out how to make it actually drive the car.
Which defeats the whole purpose of buying it to save time.
Exactly.
Ninopal, acting as a transformation partner, provides deep expertise across cloud architecture, data engineering, and workflow optimization to build customized, scalable ecosystems. They handle the entire life cycle of the implementation.
From start to finish.
Right. They map your current chaotic processes, design the new architecture, build the custom API integrations, deploy the OCR and LLM models, set up the human-in-the-loop dashboards, and crucially, they maintain and optimize those models over time as your business scales.
That's the real value right there.
It is. They ensure long-term measurable success rather than just, handing you a login credential and wishing you luck.
Which is exactly what you need when you are dealing with mission-critical operations. You need an ecosystem custom-built for your specific chaotic kitchen.
Right back to the kitchen. I love it.
Got to bring it full circle. So let's recap the journey we've been on today. We explored the painful reality of scattered systems causing deep operational fatigue. We traced the life cycle of a business transaction, seeing how Ninopal's AI acts as the master expediter.
Handling everything from intake to CRM updates.
Right, handling the RFQ intake, auto-generating JRA tickets, drafting purchase orders, triaging Zendesk support, and keeping those CRMs updated in real time.
All seamlessly.
And we demystify the tech stack, breaking down how OCR acts as the eyes, LLMs act as the brain, and process orchestration acts as the pipeline. And most importantly, we saw how human-in-the-loop validation keeps everything secure and auditable.
While delivering that 90% reduction in manual processing time.
Exactly. It's clear that if you want to streamline your operations effortlessly, Ninopal is ready to build your automation roadmap today.
It really fundamentally reshapes what a business is capable of achieving on a daily basis. By stripping away that manual data entry, Ninopal's automations give businesses their time back.
Yeah.
It allows them to focus purely on strategy, innovation, and customer satisfaction.
Hear, hear.
But it does leave us with an interesting paradox to consider as we look to the future.
Oh.
Yeah. If AI eventually takes over 90% of the repetitive back-office work for every company in your industry, what happens to the competitive landscape?
It's a fascinating question.
Right. When everyone is operating at peak strategic capacity with zero administrative lag, what becomes the new uniquely human differentiator that separates the good companies from the great ones?